guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a yoga sequence to help relieve stress and tension in the body. So we're going to focus on some breathing techniques today and just moving a little bit of flow through the body, trying to release energy and stress and fear and worry that might be going on. So be sure to like this video and subscribe down below, you guys, to the Sharway so you don't miss any yoga videos that are coming up in the future. And with all of that said, let's start today's practice. So starting out in a seated position. So if you want to sit onto a blanket, onto a block or a bolster, just sitting it underneath your hips, almost like you're trying to let your hips fall off the block or bolster, allowing opening through the hip flexors here. So just a little bit of extra support if you're quite tight through the hips. Just an option, of course, you don't have to have the block or bolster below you. So we're going to come into our seated meditation to start out our practice. So I'd like you to bring your right hand onto your heart, your left hand onto your belly. From here, closing the eyes if that feels safe and comfortable for you. And just becoming aware of your breath, not trying to change it or force it into anything else. Just noticing if you're breathing more into your belly or into your heart space. Oftentimes through times of stress, anxiety, or worry, we often breathe really high into our chest, which creates more worry and more anxious feelings. So we're going to work on breathing into our belly space to create deep breaths to relax the nervous system. So as we take an inhale through the nose here, I want you to think about breathing into that left hand, into the belly hand. Taking a big breath in through the belly, pressing the belly, allowing the breath to rise up from the belly, through the ribs, all the way up to the hand on your heart. And as you exhale, think about softening through the heart and letting the breath fall all the way down to the bottom hand at the belly. Inhale into the belly, letting the chest and the ribs rise up, filling up the chest cavity. And as you exhale into the heart, all the way down to the hand on the belly. Taking those motions of breath, so breathing into the belly, into the heart, and exhale, chest softens, belly falls. So breathing into that bottom hand, filling up all the way to the top, and exhale, chest falls, belly softens and comes down. Feeling that breath, feeling that movement, creating space in the heart and the chest and the belly. Taking 2 more rounds of that breath. Really nice and slow, not rushing our breath, just really connecting and creating that energy movement through the breath. Last breath. Starting to bring awareness back to the eyes, fluttering them open. You can release the hand off the heart and off the belly, just onto your legs. We're going to work into some breath work. So we're going to work through our alternate nostril breathing. So finding some energy balance in through the right side and the left side of the body. So I'll take you guys through that. If you want to stay lifted onto your block or your bolster, if you have one, feel free to, or you can option to kick it out and take it out through this breathing posture. So what we're gonna do is we are going to take our right hand, just covering our nose, so holding on to either side of your nose. So there's no fancy hand gesture here. Some teachers do a fancy gesture. I just like to just use my hand however feels good. So holding onto the nose, you're gonna plug off the left nostril. Inhaling into the right nostril, holding at the top, plug the right nostril, and release and let the left nostril open, breathing the breath out the left side. From here, keeping the right plugged, we're going to inhale into the left, plug off the left, holding at the top, and exhale, breathe out that right nostril. Inhale, breathe into the right nostril, plug it off, releasing the left, letting the breath flow out. Inhale into the left nostril, plugging it off. Release the right, exhale, let that breath out the right side. Inhale into the right, plugging that nostril. Open the left, let the breath flow out. So continuing that alternate nostril breathing, just for a few moments. So when you breathe in alternate nostrils, it helps to balance the right and left hemispheres of the body. So the masculine and feminine energy. So a lot of times energy shifts and changes in the body, and we can become more masculine or more feminine dominant in our energy. So this breathing technique helps to balance out that energy, helps to create a lot of calm into the body and the mind. So if you're feeling a lot of stress, a lot of anxiousness, it's a really great breathing technique to bring into your daily practice to help bring down those emotions. So continuing with 2 more rounds. Letting that breath just flow in and out. And when you come into your last breath, just letting both nostrils go, letting go of the whole, releasing the hand down to the thigh. Take a nice big inhale into both nostrils. And exhale, release that breath out the mouth. Let's do 1 more of those. Inhale, filling up through both nostrils. And exhale, out the mouth, let that breath go. Perfect. If you're onto a block still, release that block or bolster, let that bolster go. Perfect. Keeping the cross of the legs here, we're going to inhale nice and tall through the spine, and as we exhale, bring that right hand onto the left knee and twisting our heart open towards the left. Bringing that back hand behind your seat, behind your bum, and twisting your heart open. So I want you to think about twisting from belly first. So we're inhaling nice and tall, lifting belly, ribs, and then the chest. So spinning from bottom to top. Finding a nice gentle massage into the side body. And exhale, start to bring yourself back to center. Twisting over to the opposite side. So bringing the left hand onto the right knee, bringing that back hand behind you. Before we twist, we'll inhale nice and tall, reaching that spine towards the sky. And we'll twist belly, ribs, and then the chest. Shining that heart over. Gaze comes to the side of the mat. Breathing here. Let's exhale, come back to center. We're going to interlace the hands. So interlacing the hands, but behind our low back. So I'll just come this way so you guys can see. So interlacing the hands behind the back, pressing them onto the low back. And from here, drawing those elbows towards each other. Option to start to reach those arms off the low back, reaching back. Starting to tip our heart up, opening through the collarbones, maybe gazing up towards the sky. Just finding some opening in through the chest here. Getting a nice stretch. You can even lift the hands off the mat if you have long limbs like I do, and just reaching those arms back. And exhale, Release those hands, shake them out. And from here, we'll start to walk our hands in front of us. So staying in our cross-legged position, keeping our sit bones grounded on the mat. So walking the hands forward. So if you start to come forward and your bum starts to lift, I want you to stay higher up. So maybe tenting the fingers or not coming as far forward. So we're keeping the sit bones grounded into the mat. Reaching forward here, nice flat straight back. And we're gonna walk over towards the left. So maybe spider fingering yourself over there, just starting to slide your heart over. So just coming over that left knee, finding some expansion and opening through the side body, keeping that right sit bone rooted down into the mat. So really keeping that grounding and finding that stretch in through the side body. Taking one more breath here and starting to walk yourself back to center. Reaching those fingertips forward, maybe coming a little bit more forward. And walking yourself over towards the right. Finding that stretch in through the left side, coming all the way down into the hip, rooting that hip into the mat. So keeping that grounding, keeping that connection. Really nice stretch for the QL muscle, connects into our first rib all the way down to the hip joint. Keeping your heart over that front leg. And let's exhale, start to walk back to center, walking your heart a little bit more forward, trying to bring that heart towards the mat. Walking our hands back up, coming back to a seated position. Let's release those legs out in front, give them a nice stretch. Stretch them out. And kicking those legs back, let's come into our tabletop position. Stacking into that tabletop, spreading through those fingers, lifting up through the hands. So we're putting the weight into our fingertips, not into our wrists. Working through our cat-cow here. So as we inhale, dropping the belly, flipping the bum, spreading through the collarbones, gazing up towards the sky. And let's exhale, rounding through the spine, pressing the spine high towards the sky, pressing it up, hollowing out the belly, head falls. Inhale. Back to our cow, belly falls towards the mat. Lifting your gaze. And exhale, rounding that spine, pressing it all the way up. Continuing those rounds, following your own breath, closing the eyes, really noticing each vertebrae of the spine. Moving through each vertebrae, not trying to just flip through motions, really connecting with that spine all the way from the neck all the way down to the tailbone. So that means you slow down the movements to really feel that, then that's what you need to do. Taking 2 more rounds. Coming back to center, releasing that cat-cow. We're going to inhale as we step the right foot between the hands, coming into our low lunge variation. So you can keep the back toes, soles of the shoelace parts of the foot on the mat, or you can curl the back toe, whichever feels best. And we're going to inhale, sweep up the arms, reaching up high towards the sky into our low lunge variation. You can option to keep the hands onto the hips, or you can reach towards the sky. So if your shoulders are killing you here, keeping them on the hips. So reaching through those fingertips, sinking the hips towards the mat, getting a nice stretch into that left hip flexor. We're gonna exhale, release the hands, frame the front foot, curl the back toes under, pressing up into our high lunge. Pressing the hands still into the mat, really finding that strength into the front hip. Rooting through the feet. Think about pressing that back foot forward. So you're almost like you're trying to launch yourself forward, really lifting up onto the ball of that back foot. From here, sweeping up into that high lunge variation, reaching the hands high towards the sky, or you can release them onto the hips. Finding your balance here. If you need to walk that right foot more out towards the right to find a better balance, you can do that. So sinking through the hips, getting a nice big stretch, strong through the glutes, keeping that chest shining forward, reaching through those fingertips if they're reaching up towards the sky. Let's exhale, release, frame the front foot, stepping back into our downward facing dog. Walk out the legs, give that dog a walk, right to left. Big breaths here, sinking our heart towards those thighs, gazing between the legs. Taking 3 big breaths. One more breath. You're going to take 2 steps towards the top of the mat. Bringing the feet between the hands, bending through those knees, releasing the head and the neck, the arms to fall forward into our forward fold, Uttanasana. Dangling those hands towards the mat, releasing the spine, the neck. Let's inhale, halfway lift, coming into a nice flat back, so hands on the shins or the thighs. Imagine if you can put a plate on your back, really engaging through those back muscles. So drawing the shoulder blades back, finding that mid-back strength. Exhale, forward fold. Bending through the knees, inhale, sweep the arms up high towards the sky, reaching up. And exhale, those hands through heart center. Inhale, sweep those arms high towards the sky, bending from the hips. Exhale as we forward fold, Uttanasana. Halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, frame the front feet, stepping ourselves back, right foot then left, coming into our plank position. Holding onto our plank here, engaging through the belly, drawing that belly towards the spine. Shoulder blades come down the back. And let's release into our half plank position here. And exhale, sitting our seat back, coming into our child's pose position. Legs are coming together as we release forward, letting the arms reach out in front. Head falls towards the mat. You can even cross those forearms over, getting a little rest for your forehead. Just releasing, letting everything go. Starting to walk yourself back up, coming into our tabletop position. And from here, we're going to step that left foot between the hands, coming into our low lunge on Jani Asana on the other side. Inhale, sweep those arms up high towards the sky. Option to always drop them to the hips if you need to. So from here, sinking our hips down towards the mat, keeping that engagement through the core and the pelvic floor. So we're not dropping and collapsing, we're lifting and drawing up and exhaling to soften down. Exhale, release, frame the hands around the front foot, curl the back toes under, pressing ourselves up into our high lunge, rocking forward like we're trying to shoot ourselves forward, coming up on the ball of the foot, rooting through the feet, pressing, gauging through that hip flexor. Inhale, sweep up high towards the sky into our high lunge. Keeping the hands wherever you need them, making sure we can see those big toes. We're tracking your knee towards the pinky toe side of the foot. Nice and tall through the crown of the head. And let's exhale, release, frame that front foot. Stepping our left foot back, coming into our downward facing dog. Walk out that dog. Find 3 big breaths here. One more breath. Taking 2 steps towards the top of the mat, coming back to our forward fold. Uttanasana, releasing the hands, the head, letting the head be heavy, shake out that neck. Inhale, halfway lift, nice flat back. Release, forward folds. Let's inhale, sweep the arms high to sky, reaching up towards the sky. Exhale those hands through heart center. Coming into our standing posture here. So release the hands onto the hips. Gonna root through the left foot. Pulling that. So we're gonna root through the left foot, finding grounding into the 4 corners of the feet. So really finding that balance, coming into some standing balances here. Starting to lift up through the right foot, tapping onto the toes, finding our balance, our strength through that standing leg. We're gonna lift up through the right leg, crossing over, bringing our ankle to just rest above the knee joint, flexing through those toes, slightly sitting our bum back, coming into our figure 4 standing, or I like to call my variation of eagle pose here. So finding strength through the legs. If you start to wobble or shake, that's okay. We're gonna inhale, bring the arms wide out in front of you. Finding some balance here. Big deep breaths. Reaching that left arm to come underneath the right, reaching for opposite shoulders, lifting up the elbows. Coming into our eagle arms. One more breath. Release those arms open. Release that top leg, shake it out, stand. Whew, hello leg, hello hip. Give yourself a wiggle. Awesome. Coming through the other side, so rooting down through the right foot, finding those 4 corners of the feet. Finding that balance, starting to tap up onto the left toes. Lifting up through the left leg, crossing over the ankle, resting above the knee joint. So we're not resting on the knee joint, we're above the knee joint. And just sitting our bum back slightly here. Keeping our chest lifted. Let's inhale, open up those arms. Crossing the right underneath the left. Reaching for opposite shoulders. Finding that strength. Big breaths. Letting go of tension in the face. One more breath. Open up, release those arms, release the cross, shake those legs out. Whew. Give it a shake. Awesome. Take a sip of water if you need. All right, from here we're gonna come into a wide-legged stance, keeping the toes pointing forward. If you have a block or a water bottle handy, putting it in front of you there. Let you grab that if you got one. All right, so toes are pointing forward here. Hands are onto the pelvis, resting our hands. We're gonna drop those hands down to the hip joint, so right where your leg connects into the pelvis is where our hip joint is. So inhale nice and tall through the crown, growing that spine. As we exhale, we're going to keep both feet planted on the mat, tipping our heart forward, coming down towards the floor. So stop at halfway, keeping a nice flat back here. So maybe the floor is within reach here, maybe you need to reach towards that block. It's bringing the hands down, keeping a nice flat back. So almost like you're trying to stick your bum back towards the back of the room, keeping a micro bend into those legs if you tend to hyperextend. An option to lower the block or totally take it out of the equation. So releasing the hands towards the mat or towards that block. Releasing the head, letting the crown fall towards the floor. Releasing, letting everything go. Letting that decompression come through the spine, the neck, the face. You can start to walk those hands between the legs, walking them more towards the back side of your mat. Just finding a different stretch here. Releasing. Walk those hands back in front of your face. And from here, we're going to keep our left hand planted onto the mat, bringing the right hand onto the heart, spinning open towards the side. So this might be enough for you here, or you can option to reach that top arm towards the sky, coming into a twist in our forward fold. Reaching up towards the sky. Let's exhale, release that top hand back down, coming down towards the mat. And placing that right hand on the mat. Let's inhale, open up through the left, reaching that left arm towards the sky, twisting our heart open towards the left. Using that block if you need it, reaching through those fingertips. You can gaze towards the side wall or gaze up towards that top hand if the neck feels okay. One more here. Exhale, release the hands back down to the mat. Release forward. As we start to walk ourselves back up, we're going to inhale, coming halfway up, stopping at halfway, taking a breath so we don't get a head rush. And exhale, engaging through the glutes, standing all the way up to standing. Release those hips, sway them side to side. And walk those legs together. Perfect. Let's inhale, sweep up, reaching the arms high. Exhale, tip from the hips, coming forward into our forward folds. Release the crown of the head. Shake it yes, shake it no. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, release the hands, stepping our left foot back and then our right foot back, coming into our plank position here. Squeezing through the belly, option to drop to half plank if you need to. Finding that strength for 2 breaths, drawing those shoulder blades down the back. And exhale, sit our bum back into our child's pose, sitting our bum onto our feet. And let's release the hands at our sides, palms coming, or top of the hand coming down, folding over those legs, releasing, letting the crown of the head come towards the mat, forehead comes down. Can option to put a block here if the floor is quite far away. Releasing forward, letting the shoulders fall away. Letting the breath slow down. Starting to walk ourselves back up. Coming back into our tabletop. From here, we'll keep our hips stacked nice and high, walking those hands forward, melting our heart towards the mat, coming into heart melting posture. So allowing the forehead to come down towards the mat. You can option to have a block here for your forehead if the ground feels quite far away. We're keeping our hips over our knees, so keeping them really high. We're not sitting back into our child's pose, we're staying up nice and high here. And release, melting that heart and chest towards the mat. Releasing the forearms. Getting a nice stretch in through the armpits. All the way down the spine to the low back. Letting everything go. And starting to walk yourself back up into our tabletop, kick that block out of the way. And just coming to sit onto our feet and coming down into our final resting posture. So you can stay into a seated meditation if you like, or you can option to come all the way down to the mat, releasing onto the floor. If the low back is feeling any tension or tightness, you can knock those knees together, walk the soles of the feet to the outer edge of the mat, or you can just release the legs long. Or coming into any position that allows you to relax. Whether that's lying down or seated. Finding that position. Letting your breath come back to its natural rhythm, letting go of any breath work. Bringing awareness into your heart center. Noticing how your heart feels, how your breath is. Do you feel different from the beginning of the class? Allowing yourself to just fall into the space on the floor, becoming heavy on the mat. Starting to bring awareness back into the space you're in the room that you're in. Wiggling fingers and toes. Finding some movement into the body. If you're laying down, rolling over to your right side into a fetal position. And starting to press yourself up into a comfortable seat. Finding a seated position, bringing your hands to heart center, pressing the thumb gently into the breastbone. Closing the eyes, bowing forward, thanking yourself for coming to the mat today and for working to relieve stress and tension into the body. Sending you so much love and light, and hoping that this practice supported you in whatever space you're in. From my heart to yours, namaste. Have an amazing day, you guys, and be sure to like this video, subscribe down below if you aren't already subscribed to the Charway, and if you need to share this with anyone who might be needing this practice today, feel free to share this video. Thanks so much, you guys. I'll see you in the next yoga video. Bye, guys.